I don't see any concrete. Now, you saw how easy he pulled the old post up out of the ground. Something tells me he may have just tamped these back in. He had a nail gun. I'm not sure why we're hand hammering nails when we've got a nail gun handy, but I'd be afraid to see what this gate looks like after a few years.
Today's video is brought to you by our good friends over at Nationwide Industries, the Fence Pros' #1 choice. And they are this Fence Pros' #1 choice for a couple reasons. One, we love using their Keystone Traverse latches. They're easy to install. You simply bolt them onto the post. No drilling for rods or cutting the rods required. It's a pretty straightforward installation process. We also love using their full line of galvanized hardware. It shows up quickly and reliably. All right, guys, today's video is titled The Simplest Fence You Can Build by Meta Spencer. Interesting choice of a title. So I'm trying to think, what would be the simplest type of fence to build? Don't cheat. Before you start watching this, put your guesses in the comments below. What is the simplest fence you think you can build? Yeah, if you'd like to watch the entire video without my commentary, we will link it in the description below.
I'm just going to show you the simplest fence you can possibly build.
I think some might argue that driving posts might be simpler than drilling them, but we'll see where this goes.
So the process of putting money in the ground has begun. I had to get some big boy 10-footers because we're going 7 feet.
All right, nice. So 7 foot out. Simple math tells you he's going to leave about 3 foot in. I like the fact that he's going deeper because he's using a taller fence, or he's going with a taller fence. Off to a good start. I don't see any concrete. Now, you saw how easy he pulled the old post up out of the ground. Something tells me he may have just tamped these back in. I guess we are going for the simplest fence you can build. All right, so we're going horizontal privacy. Not sure that's the simplest way, but we'll see. We'll see. Small gap. Simpler way would have made sure you're just 6 foot on center. That way you wouldn't have to cut, but here we go. Ring shank nails. Make sure the nails won't pull back out over time.
If you are a magician with your wood, you will be able to get a really clean line that you might be happy with, but I've never really been able to do that. It always ends up just a little bit funny. So I'm going to trim these guys up on the outside. You'll see that there'll be a vertical piece here, vertical piece there.
Makes sense. Even if you were to get them perfectly aligned, those joints, I think most folks would like to have a cover picket, or he's calling it trim, over that, just to make it look a little bit nicer.
And you're going to see that I'm going to funk it up a little bit at the top. Totally not necessary, but basically the top here is not going to be the final top, so you'll see a little extra mojo up there once I'm done.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder, because typically you would want to cut your posts off before you get started. Just makes it easier, but it seems like there's a plan maybe to put some lattice or something a little bit more decorative up top. Like we're stripping down some fence pickets, ripping them in half. Here's the mojo he's adding to the top.
So the deal is that the top is kind of delineated, marked off, whatever, by a couple of thin dudes. Just one of these guys ripped in half. I still have to trim that off, and I'll take off the tops as well.
He had a nail gun. I'm not sure why we're hand hammering nails when we've got a nail gun handy, but here's like this lumber he's using. Looks like a cedar. Hopefully we're going to add some more framework to the gate. Okay. Got some diagonal bracing going on.
When you're doing this, the goal is to support the latch. Just think about the latch side, not the hinge side. The hinge side.
We've had this discussion a lot on these reaction videos in that how you frame the gate is incredibly important. You want to frame from the bottom of the hinge side to the top of the latch side. Now, we've seen videos like this before where they explain it correctly, but then they install it backwards. So, you know, we'll see. Is that it for the structure? Hope not. What's going to keep those from twisting, I wonder? It's a lot of 2x4 to keep the vertical 2x4s. It's a lot to keep straight. Yes, it is the framework we're putting on. What I would be worried about in this gate situation is, so you've got a lot of 2x4 there at the top and the bottom, unsupported. Even if there's cedar, unsupported wood or unstructured wood is going to want to twist or just not stay straight. Cedar does it less than treated pine, I'll give you that, but still going to want to. So I'd be afraid to see what this gate looks like after a few years.
And one more thing I want to say about the gate is you got to use some good gate hardware. This makes all the difference. I really totally recommend these post latch connectors. You'll see in action, these are just really nice to interact with.
Springs break all the time. That spring will bust in the next couple of years, and then you got to try to find a spring to replace it. You can find some heavier duty hardware out there. Also on this hinge, so I paused it kind of right at the right spot, I guess. This hinge, I guess we cut part of it off because it was a little bit too long. So this would be a strap hinge, goes long ways. They make a T hinge to where it still has the strap half on the gate, but on the latch side, it actually has, it's a T. And they're actually specifically built for instances like this where you just don't have the link to go down at the strap hinge. In most home stores, they're sold right next to the T hinges.
That's that latch I'm telling you about. It's just, I haven't used one. They're just awesome.
If you've used them very much, you realize they're not really that awesome. Like I said, that spring breaks 9 out of 10 times out of the first couple of years. They make gravity latches that work in a similar function, but they're not relying on that spring to bring them back home.
All right, there's the fence. I'm telling you, it is the simplest you can build. Actually, a little bit cheaper too because you don't have the rails. And I don't know, it's just got a good feel to it.
You don't have the rails, but you'd have a ton more pickets. When we're building the fence, the horizontal fence actually comes out more in materials than the privacy fence does. So I'm not sure that this is the cheapest or simplest fence you could build. Also, I'm not crazy that the gate doesn't match the fence in height. It doesn't have the extra mojo up top. But I don't know. Well, guys, that's it. What do you think? Is it the simplest fence you could build? Let me know in the comments below. Till next time, I'm Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors. See you next time.